So, once again, thank you for joining us for a webinar entitled The Power of BI, How Business Intelligence Can Lead to Better Business Decisions. I am your host, Ivona Petkovska, and our presenter today will be our CEO of CloudFirst, Dennis Gentles. Dennis has over 20 years of experience in the IT industry, has managed large-scale IT projects for companies such as Citibank, Lockheed Martin, WebEx, JetBlue Airways, as well as numerous small organizations. As the founder of CloudFirst, Dennis has led our company to receive 2 silver competencies from Microsoft for cloud productivity and small and mid-sized business cloud solutions. Now, please give a warm welcome to Dennis Gentles.
I was on mute, sorry. Thank you, Ivona, for that welcome, that introduction. Our webinar today is the power of BI, how business intelligence can lead to better business decisions. And so we're going to talk a little bit about business intelligence throughout this session this morning. When we take a step back and we look at the world in general, the world is changing. The world of data is changing. How we perceive data, how we mine the data, how we analyze this data is changing. There is going to be a 10% increase every 5 years on how we continue to consume and to look at data and the amount of data that is stored. There's the term big data that was made popular over the last decade, and big data is usually referred to when it comes to very large amounts of data that needs to be analyzed, very large amounts of data that has been collected and that needs to be consumed and to be to make some sense out of it, analyzing that particular data. By 2015, organizations that build a modern information management system will outperform their peers financially by 20%. This was actually stated by Gartner in a study about information management. And so what does that really mean? Well, it means that organizations that are able to collect the data and then be able to manage it in a way that they can get information out of it, information that affects their business, information that affects how they work with their customers, information on their product and how it's doing financially in the market. When they're able to take this information and be able to get or take this data and get the right type of information out of it, well, then this means that they're building a modern information management system, and it says that these organizations will outperform their peers. So what does this all mean? Well, business intelligence is the way in which we collect data and then be able to make intelligent decisions on this data. Business intelligence can deliver maximum value for people who are information workers, persons who deal with information and be able to mine this information. It allows us to have broad access to uncover and share insights, being able to look at things that we may not have normally seen by just looking at things from a surface level, but being able to dig a little bit deeper and to analyze things. So we're going to talk about business intelligence solutions. For the purpose of this particular webinar, we're going to mainly focus on Power BI, but there are many other business intelligence solutions out there. Power BI is a solution by Microsoft, but once again, you can take some of the things that I'm stating about Power BI and just really think about these type of concepts across many different intelligent platforms when it comes to business intelligence. So, however, Power BI is a SaaS-based application. That means it's a cloud-based application, software as a service. There are many software as a service business intelligence applications out there. But by being cloud-based and finding a cloud-based solution, it makes it very easy to implement. It makes it quick to implement it. We put agents out there where we're collecting the data, and the business intelligence system, we configure some settings, and we're able to start very quickly pulling out some valuable information. Power BI happens to be integrated with Office 365, so many individuals have Office 365. Over 90% of the Fortune 100 companies use Office 365. And so by integrating it with that, it makes it the collaboration to be very straightforward, being able to pull information out and being able to share it across our teams and to be able to collaborate with it. And thus, in general, Power BI, as well as other SaaS-based business intelligence solutions, because it's in the cloud, it's price-driven so that we can see a broad adoption to it. If you look at if you're looking at the slides, and in this particular slide, it talks about the first, second, and third wave. Some years ago, when business intelligence was becoming popular, data mining or having a data warehouse or big data, those terms you may be familiar with, it was mostly technical individuals who were there to mine this information. Executives would ask the IT department, who would talk to the analysts and talk to the IT engineers. This is what we want to get. This is the information we want, and they would, run some calculations and pull out the information and then present it up. Well, then the second wave was where you didn't have to go all the way down to the IT department, where the end user, perhaps the executives in the organization, would be able to just ask the analysts that were working with them, and they were able to pull out this information, the intelligence from the data. But now with Power BI and with other SaaS-based business intelligence applications, it is at the third wave where almost everyone, not just even the executives who want to get information from a dashboard, but anyone in a department can quickly say, hey, let me run some queries against the data that our organization is collecting and pull out some very intelligent information so I can make decisions from this data. So we look at from insight to action. What does that mean? Well, insight is being able to look inside of our data, look inside to see what information that we are gathering. But it's not just simply looking at the data and making some sense out of it, but it's being able to look at it, make sense out of it, and then now be able to make a decision or to be able to take action based on that decision or action based on the data that we've pulled. And then we're able to answer the what, why, what happened, why did it happen, what will happen, and what should I do? And so looking at that from a data point of view, we're able to give you examples. We're going to see more examples as I go along, but just to kind of understand what I'm talking about, being able to pull data from perhaps many different stores. We're running a chain of convenience stores, and each chain is reporting their sales. They're reporting in terms of the data is being collected on who is purchasing, when they're purchasing, what they're purchasing. And so all of that data is just flat information until we're able to use some business intelligence behind it. And then we can say, well, who is buying milk after midnight? Which stores? And then we can find out that our stores on the east side of town, there's a huge spike in milk sales after midnight. I mean, what can we do with that information? Well, now that we have it, I mean, there's some type of information that we probably would not have been able to gather very quickly. But now that we have it, well, we can set out sales in certain parts of town, or we can make incentives based on this information that we've pulled out very simply from the data that we've collected. So, and again, there'll be more relevant examples as we go along. Along with business intelligence, we think about analytics, analyzing the data that we pull in. Microsoft Cortana, you may be familiar with Cortana because Cortana is associated with Windows 10. That is the speech recognition where you're able to talk to your computer like Siri in the Apple world, and it gives you back some information. Well, Microsoft Cortana Analytics Suite is a little bit more than just simply a personal assistant speech artificial intelligence, but rather it takes it a step further to be able to do some great analytics on the data that we pull in, being able to pull in data from the Internet of Things, from Azure Data Lakes, from SQL servers, and then being able to do machine learning. Machine learning is being able to take the data and now be able to make some trends on it and to make intelligent decisions from an artificial intelligence standpoint, and to learn and to based on the data, gather these trends, and now our systems are learning about and are able to predict what's going to happen next. So using again the example of these milk sales in one side of town, what we find is that now with machine learning, one is able to now predict, oh, this is what my sales will be next week, this is what my sales will be next year, and I'm learning who's going to buy and when they're going to buy it, and now my system is able to tell me that. We can take all of this information and pull it into Power BI, and we have some wonderful visual dashboards in which we can quickly view things and now make some decisions on that. We can talk to Cortana, and Cortana can tell us, give us some examples of what we need to do. So using Power BI or most SaaS-based cloud business intelligence applications, we're able to start with building on investments that we may have already made on business intelligence. We may not realize it, but even if we don't think that we're using business intelligence today, we may have a bunch of spreadsheets with data or information in it, Excel spreadsheets, and maybe some of the business analysts in our organization are using, or we may be using. We may have invested in SQL Server in the past, or SQL Server reporting services. If those are things that we have already invested in, the good news is that Power BI can build upon that and extend this information that might be on-premise, that may be stored in a folder or Excel document or in our SQL database on-premise, and we can extend that data, connect it to Power BI, which is cloud-based, and be able to pull that information out and use all the power of this business intelligence platform. So some of the features that we get with Power BI in particular, and once again I preface this by saying that many of the SaaS applications out there that offer Power BI, that offer business intelligence, have many of these same exact features. It just depends on which solution you choose. But Power BI, for instance, it runs on the Windows platform, it runs on iOS, it runs on Android. It runs on HTML5, which really means that it can be operated from almost any device, excuse me, any device that has a web browser in place. So you can pull and read and look at this information. If you can see the screen here, if you're connected via the Skype for Business console and you're able to view the slide, you can see here in the picture that it is an image of the dashboard, and how you can see this dashboard on a small mobile device or on a tablet. And data access and mashups and transformation in Power BI desktop, that is something that Power BI offers. It also offers pre-built dashboards, so we're able to quickly come up and running where we can see a dashboard with our information. We don't have to spend a lot of time developing and customizing a new one. There's also real-time dashboard updates, and what that really means is that as new data is being collected, as new information is coming in, new sales of milk across town are coming in, we don't have to refresh our screen. We can just watch it and see the information update right before our eyes. The cool thing about this platform is also the intuitive data exploration using natural language query. And what that means is that I don't have to have some type of advanced programming degree to figure out and to discover new information. I can simply type a natural language question. How many milk sales did I do in the west part of town yesterday? And a graph and the answer to that question will come up based on the data that is already there. I can ask a question, who is the top performing salesperson when it comes to milk distribution sales in my organization? And it can pull that information out and tell us. And so this is all based on secure connections. So many times when we talk about cloud, individuals wonder, okay, well, is it secure? Is it this? Is it have the necessary compliance features in place? The quick answer is yes. Power BI is built with security in mind, as well as many of the other SaaS applications. You get a secure live connection to your data source, whether the data source is another cloud service or the data source is on-premise. The cool thing is it's able to take different data sources and pull them together and be able to analyze that across many different sources. So for instance, we have our point of sale system that we're connected to, so we're looking at our milk sales, but then we also connect it to our Twitter account, Facebook account. So now we can cross-reference the fact that people have been giving us likes on our blog, and we can now analyze the fact that when we get a certain amount of likes on our blog, then our sales go up by this many percent. We're able to be able to analyze that type of detail. And so when talking about that, I gave an example of maybe an on-premise point of sale system along with Twitter. But if you can see this slide, we're able to connect data from many different areas. We connect the data that matters most by means of business intelligence. Power BI, for instance, is able to connect to data sources such as Marketo or Intuit, QuickBooks Online, QuickBooks On-Premise, Dynamics CRM, Zendesk, MailChimp, Google Analytics, Adobe Analytics, Azure Audit Logs, Salesforce, very popular application out there. And so by being able to hook into these apps and be able to pull data out, and then now we're able to cross-reference that data, again, that provides some very powerful dashboards. And if we take a step back and remember the fact that it is integrated with Office 365, those who have that is able to leverage a huge amount of convenience in being able to see this data, collaborate on the data with other team members, and share it across the enterprise. So in talking about Power BI, Forrester mentioned that Power BI leads to Agile BI packs, leads the Agile BI pack. So, again, we've talked about different cloud applications or different business intelligence applications, Power BI being one of them. However, Forrester stated that Microsoft is a leader in that. Of course, it's their opinion. One would be able to it's recommended that you go and compare the business intelligence applications that is right for your particular industry or your particular organization. But being that this, once again, is a webinar hosted by CloudFirst, a Microsoft partner, and Microsoft, then you'll hear some more information about Microsoft's particular BI solution. However, I do preface it always that you can search and see that many of these features are in other solutions. But what we find is that there are some other leaders in the marketplace. There's TIBCO, there's SAP, there's Oracle, there's Panorama, there's Good Data, there's Information Builders, IBM, Tableau. All of these have business intelligence offerings. And so for many recognize Power BI as a leader, Power BI from Microsoft as a leader in this space. And if you are interested in learning more about Power BI, please contact us and I will arrange for you to get a free trial of the application. And you can get free trials of other applications, and then you can determine the differences. But we'll talk more about the features in general, about what business intelligence can do for your organization. Custom data visualizations is something that most applications have, which we call a dashboard. And being able to pull the information, we've talked about how you can pull data from different sources, perhaps Salesforce or MailChimp or these other data sources, some in the cloud, some on premise, and be able to put it all together. But when it comes to visualizing it, well, you put it on a dashboard. And so there are custom dashboards that we can create that look, based on our organization, and there's some pre-built dashboards that we can use to get us up and running. Power BI and business intelligence is growing. More and more organizations are using it. Over 90,000 organizations around the world is using Power BI in some 185 countries. We recognize that collaboration in Power BI for Office 365 is something that is a great feature, being able to share information. We talked about natural language Q&A. We're able to ask questions and get the answers from it. And we can do that through an Office 365 dashboard or integrate it directly into our SharePoint. And then there's mobility. Being able to get this information, now that we have these wonderful dashboards, it's not just tied to our PC at work. We can now get it on our tablet. We may be traveling at the airport, on our mobile phone, when we're on the golf course, on a shared PC. We're at a friend's house and we don't have access to the internet. We can just go into a website and we can pull up our Power BI dashboards and get the information that we need, no matter where we are. Talking a little bit about sharing collaboration with Power BI. There's things called BI sites that we can integrate into our SharePoint. So that allows us to maybe even create Power Business Intelligence dashboards for specific teams. We can say the marketing department has these dashboards, the sales has these dashboards, finance has this dashboard, and then we're able to go from there. There's shared queries that if I make a query for my team and I'm doing a certain search, I'm in the marketing department and I want to see how many individuals have come in through Twitter and compare that to the amount of sales that we received last month. And I created this wonderful intricate query. It's not just for me. I can share that query and others in my team can easily go back and do the same query when they want to see this information. There are data refreshes, and being able to, no matter whether the data is in the cloud or whether it's on premise, constantly updates that data. We may be pulling data from a spreadsheet, and every time we add more information to the spreadsheet, the data gets collected into Power BI and we can see it on the dashboard. Power BI and business intelligence in general makes it very easy for us to search data. Some individuals just connect all the data that they have, all these different data sources, puts them into Power BI, and now it's a great repository for us to search information. We can search under many different criteria that we set up. It makes it easy for us to mine the information and get exactly what we need. Again, back to mobile access, whatever reports that we may have, we can review these reports or the dashboards on any mobile device. And then natural language questions. We've talked about that a bit too, but as you see in this particular slide, it says it's asking for the medal count by sport for France and China as a bar chart sorted by country. And so we can understand this natural language. This is a particular example of Olympics, of data that's come from the Olympics. And using Power BI, I'm able to type in a natural question, the medal count. How many medals by sport did France and China get? And then you sort that by other countries who, by those particular countries. So you can see each sport, and you can see how many medals China got, how many medals France got. And that is just a simple question that we asked, and we're able to bring up a beautiful chart based on that. Now, of course, we have to have the data behind it that has that information. But we can imagine, you can think about what you can do in your own organization based on the data that you already have available. So, again, these charts, the intelligence that we get from analyzing the data in Power BI can be made available on many different types of charts, not only on pie charts and bar charts and things like that, but we can put it on top of graphs and on top of maps. Put these graphs on top of maps so that we can see it from a geographical point of view. With Power BI, we can easily discover and access public and corporate data. So that's something also to think about. Once we have all of our corporate data, there are many public data sources out there that we can tap into, and we can get that public information and cross-reference it against the data that we have privately in our organization. Public information such as that is made available by other websites and by municipalities and cities and governments make certain data available for us to tap into. And then after doing that, we can analyze, model, and analyze up to hundreds of millions of rows of data lightning fast. It's not that we are building our own servers. And so going back to the evolution of business intelligence and being able to do data mining and data warehousing. Some years ago, when this became more and more popular, organizations spent millions of dollars in powerful servers that are able to take this data and be able to quickly analyze it. Well, again, using the power of the cloud, one does not have to purchase the hardware in order to analyze all this data. And that's really where the significance have come into. And that's what makes it available to the small and mid-sized organization. Because in the past, organizations had to spend so much money on the compute power in order to analyze things quickly enough to do this. And so with the cloud, one can simply get a subscription, add it to their Office 365 or whatever platform that they choose to use, get the SaaS application, and with their account quickly be able to take their data and analyze it from a fast standpoint and not have to purchase expensive equipment. And then be able to quickly visualize it, put it on Power View, Power Maps, and get what they need. Well, Microsoft has also partnered with SAP. SAP is a very popular ERP system, enterprise relationship system that allows an organization to pretty much automate their entire operation. Many manufacturing organizations use it. It was used in financial industry, but Microsoft has partnered with that particular organization and is able to pull Power BI inquiries or queries from that data, incorporate it into Excel using SAP Business Objects for business intelligence. So as we see, it is an extremely flexible platform. Power BI from Microsoft is something that is easy to install, and it is easy to test. And if you're interested in testing it, you can do so. But once again, all of the concepts that we talked about today can be used across other business intelligence platforms. Being able to just understand what business intelligence offers, how we can use it for our organization, and how we can use it to make intelligence decisions on that. Well, that concludes our session for this morning. Once again, if you have any questions or you want to know more about Microsoft Power BI or even any other business intelligence platform that you may be looking at, feel free to email me. My name is Dennis Gentles. I am the CEO of CloudFirst. dgentles@cloudfirstinc.com. DGENTLES at cloudfirstinc, all one word, .com. That is my email address. You can also visit our website at www.cloudfirstinc.com. So that concludes our webinar session for this morning. We'll open it up for some question and answers and turn it back over to Ivona.